All right. So first of all, we're gonna stop using terms like case study and Joe Cladd. I hate to break it to you, bud, but you are 100% wrong about how that game went down with Sark in Texas. I've already said that Sark is out of his depth whenever he gets into trouble. There is a reason why he couldn't get anything done at Washington. There is a reason why when they got down in the CFP, he didn't know how to come back. He was desperate. That's why he put Manning in. He had no clue what to do. He put Ewers back in the game and just kind of basically flipped the coin in his mind. And that's it. That's what it amounts to. And I know that everybody wants to talk about the officiating of this game. Everybody needs to chill, Brody. And I do mean chill. First of all, it shouldn't have been pass interference in the first place. I think we all agree with that. Secondly, there's no precedent that was set. The officials, until the next play happens, they have the ability to concur and talk. The fans didn't change anything. Nothing. And even if they did, it was the right call. So I hate to break it to everybody, but nothing wrong happened there. And before you get on this, well, you must be a Texas fan or Texas apologist. First of all, nobody's hated the Big 12 more than me, period. And I mean nobody. And this is the first year that OU and Texas were in the Big 12, and I've already said that neither one of these teams were going to cut the mustard in the SEC. Just watch. And I've already talked about how I don't believe any team out of the Big 12 right now is capable of winning a championship. Give a damn about the parity. I really do. I give a damn about parody. That's fine. It's unique. It's entertaining. It's cute. It's something to talk about. It's a word that we get to use. Oh, there's parody. We get to use that word, right? Because nobody loves using that word more than a sports guy who's on national television. He loves waiting for the word parody to come along. Same thing with the term case study. Same thing with the term master's class. Boy, they just can't wait. Everybody's wrong. I'm sorry. And by the way, didn't Georgia win anyway? What are you worried about? What are you complaining about? And before anybody talks about precedents being set, especially Kirby Smart, he can chill because, correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't an undefeated Florida State left out in the CFP in favor of Alabama because their quarterback was hurt? Yeah? Oh, okay. Before anybody talks about the blowout that happened, go watch the press conference with Kirby Smart. He even said, I'm probably going to get in trouble for saying this, but people got to decide what they want because of what happened out there. He knew what happened. He knew all of Florida State's players that were going to go pro went to the draft. He knew they were facing Florida State's practice squad, and he knew that they had all given up and didn't give a damn. They weren't playing. He knew what happened. He's got to decide what kind of president he wants. He was talking about last year also, by the way, about how every team in the SEC should be ranked. So he needs to pipe down because that conference has been given more favor over the last 15 years than any other conference in this country. I'm not saying that they don't deserve it. I've already had the conversation about why they are where they are, but I'm not going to go into there again. Go check my archives. Been there and done that. The point of what I'm saying is very simple. That call did not have an outcome on the game. Could it have? Maybe, but it didn't. And I think that we all knew that Georgia was in firm control of that football game. So I think everybody just needs to relax a little bit here and just kind of chill and go back and see that game for what it really was. We made that game to be about something that it wasn't. And by the way, Texas is getting fined now because of what happened in that football game. So there's no precedent being set. The SEC's already made a statement. The right call happened. The officials were well within the groundwork to do it. By the way that the fans acted, we're taking care of that with Texas. They've been assessed. We're done. That's it. Whether anybody likes it or not, that's how it should have gone down. Real quick here, can anybody explain to me how Lincoln Riley still has a job? Do you know that in 5 years that man has produced 28 players in the NFL? And yet, and I mean this, and yet he is 2-4 in bowl games and 0-3 in the college football playoff. He's got a horrendous record against top 25 football teams. And by the way, in the last 13 games, they've lost 9 of them, including losing 5 out of their 6 to end last season, and already they have a losing record this year. How does this man have a job? The only thing I can think of is there's got to be something in his contract to where it's like a Charlie Weiss situation, and it's like, okay, we gave this guy all this money. If we fire him, we are going to be paying him to just sit at home. Do we really want to do that? Because unless you're desperate, you're not going to hire Lincoln Riley right now. If you're watching what is going on with USC, the way that he betrayed Oklahoma, there's no way in hell that anybody's going to look up in their right mind and hire Lincoln Riley. That's ridiculous to think. So USC now knows that they've stepped in it. There's no getting out of this. 90% of all coaches would have been fired by now. I mean, how long did Lane Kiffin last when he was at USC? Really, when he was anywhere. When he was with the Raiders, when he was with Tennessee. When did it? I mean, Ole Miss has been his longest tenure, and it's not like he's done anything really phenomenal over there. I'm just saying 90% of all coaches would have been fired by now. I'll tell you this much. Unless they figure out a way to close out the season on an extreme high note, we're talking 7 wins plus a bowl game, it's over. He might be able to buy himself one more season, but I'll be honest with you, even if they do close out this year by winning, let's say, 7 games, I'd be willing to bet that for a bowl game, it's still going to be an interim coach. Either that or they're going to drop him right afterwards. He's one of the most overrated coaches to me right now in all of college football. He has done nothing. And then he gutted OU the way he did. And by the way, the rumors with Norman were his wife was running around telling people that deal had already been done. I mean, she was bragging about moving to California, being on the beach, and all this stuff. It blows me away that this man has a job. He doesn't deserve one. Offensive coordinator, sure, I could see that, but nobody's going to make this guy a head coach. And even then, they're probably not going to be like floor level, ground level offensive coordinator. Up high to the booth you go, amigo. I don't need you down here. We're good on that. I've always said a team becomes reflective of who their coach is. The reality, and I do mean reality, is this. His teams are soft. They can't see anything through. You've got Caleb Williams, who a lot of people, not me, but a lot of people think has a really great future in the NFL. You can't win 28 players, like I said, in the NFL. You can't win. How many starting quarterbacks right now in the NFL and you can't win? I mean, at some point, when do we look at the coach and go, I think this is a you problem, bro, not an everybody else problem? Me personally, I'm done and over with. I've been over it. I've never been on this man's gravy train. I probably never will be on his gravy train. I don't give a damn. I'm just saying. All right, so top 25 polls. I'm sure everybody's seen it. Look, as a huge Syracuse fan, first of all, Q's fan, because, obviously I follow Syracuse on every social media platform. If there's anything out there that's a case study, it's the mismanagement of the top 25. But as much as I hate to say this, Q's, it really is to the relevance of the university and the fact that none of those teams are ranked. Okay, it is what it is. Well, you got Illinois, but unfortunately, the strength of the ACC isn't that deep. I think you have Miami. I think you you don't really have Clemson, and that's really about it. That's where it stops. And people are waiting for Syracuse to lose. I mean, that's just the way that it is. They don't expect them to win games. What do you got? Pitt coming up this weekend? I know they're an ACC football team, but, this is the problem with voting as a whole. This is the problem with AP polls as it is. This is why I believe that polls need to go away, because when we look at the polls right now, there's no rhyme or reason to it. And everything is a week-to-week thing in college football. It's never what you've truly done overall, and this is why I say before week 8, we don't need polls. Polls should come out after the 8th week is done. And to me, we're still just not there yet. I honestly would wait till week 12, if I'm being honest with you. But I think week 8 is a healthy week, because you're into mid to late October at that point. Usually, you're getting into November now. But to me, I would wait till week 11 or 12, because by that time you're usually into mid to late November, and you've had some really big football games. And the problem is these rankings, especially with the College Football Playoff Committee, they're going to determine these matchups, and they're going to determine who gets home field advantage. So we're looking at teams with 2 and 3 losses being ranked ahead of teams with 1 or 2 losses, and they're going to justify it any way that they can, and they're going to go, well, because, Syracuse has beaten how many teams that at the time were ranked? And for some weird reason, that's usually a brag in college football. Right now, it's not. I truly believe they're doing everything that they can to make this the SEC Big Ten Invitational. Predominantly the SEC Invitational. Folks, the end of this season is going to piss a lot of people off. Business is going to have to take care of itself. Teams have a lot of work to do. And look, here's the problem, and I've said this a million times. They are making business decisions. They are not making football choices. That is the entire issue right now with the College Football Invitational, because it's not a playoff. It's an invitational. You are invited to our playoff because we think that's the prettiest girl to bring to the dance. It's literally what it is. It's a crapshoot. They're hoping for close games, for good games, games that looked like they were entertaining to watch. We're not talking about the best team getting in. Kirk Herbstreit can stick it. I don't give a damn. We are not talking about the creme de la creme anymore. Once you leave out an undefeated football team, your validation is no longer acceptable to me. I don't give a damn what your excuse is, and I don't give a damn what anybody says. I've been ridiculed about it 1,000,001 times on the internet. Ask me if I give one red about your opinion of me. We need to stop making business choices and start making football decisions. And with all these business decisions going around, once again, you all wonder why NIL is the thing with these athletes, because they saw what was happening for years. You are making financial decisions. You are not doing what is best for us. You are doing what is best for your pockets. Now, that's just the fact whether anybody likes it or not. So I'm still not sold on the top 25. I don't care right now. I saw 1 through 10. Really, they should be advertising 1 through probably 15 right now. But it is what it is. And I'm sure in case you, and I'm sure everybody gets it, but just in case you miss my point, what I am simply saying is, if Syracuse was Alabama right now with that resume, they would easily be a top 10 football team. Now, do I think Syracuse is really that good? No. What I am saying is this is all predicated upon business and clout. And those are the wrong decisions to be making. If you don't like what I got to say about it, tough titty. And let me close out college football talk here real quick with the Big 12. There's no way in hell that anybody looks at the Big 12 right now and goes, yes. There's teams out there that are great. Iowa State, BYU, Kansas State for sure. They would get mauled in a college football playoff game. It's not even funny how badly they would lose, and I'm not joking here. It's not even remotely funny how badly they would lose. All right. So Tua's coming back. Damn drink of water here. And I do mean water, by the way. Like actual water. Tua's coming back. And he said that he's not going to wear that cap, right? First of all, I see a lot of people making comments and jokes about him. CTE's already kicking in, or how ignorant he is. And I've seen the gifs and all that stuff that you guys are using. It's just not funny. There's literally nothing humorous about this man's life. Okay? Let's just get that out of the way. And if I catch you in my comment section making jokes, you're blocked. That's it. You're not going to get your shot off. I don't think it's cute. I don't think it's funny. I'm not entertained by it. That's it. That's all there is to it. As far as him coming back, look, here's my thing. I don't know what kind of chance Miami really has, if I'm being honest. So I think for me, the best thing is to just sit out the season. You know, you never know 100% what is going through somebody's mind. Clearly, they knew what they were doing. Everybody just kept taking that one little snippet and posting it. Tua's coming back for his own reasons. He's already said it's personal why he's not wearing it. He's already said it's, he probably doesn't want to get into the politics of it all, if I'm being honest with you. He probably doesn't want to scare anybody else from not playing the game. He probably doesn't want to do any of those things. I think Tua is looking at this situation, and I think he feels like he has more than his own life to think about here. I think he feels like he has a lot of careers in the NFL to think about. Now, I don't necessarily believe that this is a situation like Bird, right? Obviously, with the Jets, when he got paralyzed, that tragic situation, okay? I don't think this is anywhere near that at all. Obviously, because number one, Tua's probably, he's been cleared to play, so let's get that out of the way. Number two, if Tua feels like he can do this, it's his life and it's his choice. Now, we can disagree with it, and that's okay. But I'm not going to be making light of this. I'm not going to be making jokes about this. I'm not going to be doing memes about this because I don't think it's the right time and place for that. I've always said that I will never tell another man what to do with his career. I stick by what John Elway did. I stick by what Bo Jackson did. I stick by Saquon Barkley. I believe in every man controlling his own destiny. And if you think you're worth something, then you got to go out and go get what you're worth. I don't know in this situation that I can really hold back. If I were Tua, I don't think I'd come back, man. I really don't. Listen, I did an award-winning piece on concussions. And one of the things that was talked to me by Dr. Rausch, who now by this time in life has over 30 years of experience in sports medicine, he told me that, number one, he doesn't think you'll suffer a major injury or that it's inevitable that you will. He said that if he did suffer a major injury or any kind, the thing that he would necessarily not worry about is an initial injury. He would worry about the same injury over and over again because the accumulative effect, in other words, the buildup over time of the same exact problem, would start causing real issues. And that's whether it's a shoulder injury, that's whether it's a concussion, that's whether it's, something in your knee, your ACL, your MCL, whatever the case may be. When you start re-injuring over and over again, then that's when he said, hey, man, I'd be really cautious about telling somebody, yeah, you can keep playing. How many concussions has Tua already had? Now, I don't know what it is. I really don't. I think Tua is maybe seeing a bigger picture. I don't think it's necessarily something that he feels he has to prove about himself. I think it's things that he feels like he has to prove within the NFL or something. I don't know, man. What I do know is this. It's his life. It's his choice, albeit a dangerous one to me. At the end of the day, everybody makes that same choice. Damar Hamlin, everybody makes that decision. And you have to make that decision for yourself at the end of the day. I'm not going to tell him what to do, but if I were to talk to him, I'd say, look, man, here's the piece that I did. Here's what this doctor says. I don't know what the other guys are telling you. Maybe listen to this guy and set up a phone call or something, just because I think we're treading dangerous territory. And I don't know why the NFL is not choosing to step in. I really, truly don't understand their position. I think with the NHL, they have it correct. You get X amount of concussions, you're done, but we're going to take care of you. And I think this is the time for the NFL to go back and review something like that. They want to stay out of it. It is what it is. But I think that at some point, you have to step in for somebody else sometimes. It's no different than MMA fights, right? We see this all the time. These guys, when I interview them and I talk to them, I'm willing to die in that ring, bro. And refs talk to me about it all the time. These guys come up to me like, bro, if I gotta die, I gotta die. Just I'm good. Let me get in there and do what I need to do. Do not stop the fight. Sometimes you have to interject for somebody else, and that's all there is to it. So the Jets have had a hell of a couple of weeks. Somehow they stay relevant. I don't know how they stay relevant. The only thing that I can presume is it's the market that they're in, because they're a 2-5 football team. People got so mad when Denver was talking about Tim Tebow and the 1-4 Denver Broncos. Yet here we are talking about Aaron and the 2-5 Jets. They fire Salah. They bring up Ulbrich. They relieve Hackett of his coaching duties. All this stuff, And then, on top of that, Russell Wilson's premier, he outplays Aaron. He gets a win at home. First time as a Steelers quarterback. Man, and look, they getting Devontae Adams, I already said it wasn't going to be a big deal. It's not going to help anyone. Once the Steelers had their offense figured out, it was over. Mike Tomlin, when he on point, this is why I'm well compensated. I've been saying, Pittsburgh Steeler fan, you can do a hell of a lot worse than Mike Tomlin. I don't give a damn about that flip-flopper, Colin Cowherd. I don't care. Ask me if I give one red about that. Boy, he's jock riding Russ right now. Don't worry about it. If they lose next week, he'll go back to what he said at the beginning of the season. He'll say, well, at the beginning of the season, here's what I said. And by the way, for the record, Colin Cowherd said that Justin Fields is going to look at this and go, I'm probably going to get some playing time because we're not going to win that many football games. There's too many good teams. Then he also said that Mike Tomlin was given a pass like a made mob guy who just gets to keep his job no matter what. When a couple of weeks before that, he talked about how good of a coach Mike Tomlin was. He literally just says whatever he has to for clicks. He doesn't believe anything coming out of his own damn mouth. That's what's going on. He's just manipulating everything because he don't give a damn. He's just got to make his money. Now, me, on the other hand, I said this is going to be a pretty good year for the Steelers. And I maintain that they are going to the AFC Championship game. And I maintain that Denver was not Russell's fault. I'm not saying he wasn't without blame. I'm just saying it wasn't all on him. The Denver Broncos had one of the worst offensive lines in the NFL. The Denver Broncos have one of the worst play calling situations in the NFL. Two different coaches, two completely different styles of offense. Offensive line that had more penalties through the first, 7 weeks of the NFL than anybody else when it came to false start penalties, holding penalties. They were horrendous. Drops. Stop it. And everybody's going, well, Russ played good, but he didn't play great. You want to see some of the drop passes at the beginning of the football game? It's a first game, people. It's going to take a little while for everybody to get the rhythm. I don't know why this is so complicated for everybody to figure out. And by the way, they put up how many points? Set a Steelers record for this. Like, stop it. They were down 15-6. It was looking horrible. All these people were in the comment section. Start Fields. You should have seen some of the passes that Russ was making. They panned over to Justin Fields, and he looked like, I ain't playing again. Not unless Russ gets hurt. He knew what was going on. He saw a couple of plays and knew it. I'm not saying that Pickens didn't make a great catch, but let's keep it a buck. Russ was making throws that Justin Fields can't make. And I've been saying that Fields is an exceptional game manager. And if anybody thinks that there's some kind of trade value there, maybe he can go to Philly or somewhere like that where he might be able to flourish. Especially if they figure out a way to keep Saquon. Because what happened with Jalen Hurts and them the other day, come on, that was Saquon. He could have got a career high in that football game, but he chose not to. It's his team now, for the record. It's not Jalen Hurts' football team. It's Saquon's. Let's be clear about this. Jalen Hurts has been a turnover nightmare all season long. The point of what I'm saying here is this. It's Russ's football team. And even then, the play calling was pretty mundane. First down, run the football. Second down, run the football. I mean, this looked like a very 1981 offense out there. But Russ and company, they were able to find a way to get some rhythm and somehow start making it work. Defense helped him out with a couple of interceptions. Now, I will say this. The second INT that Rodgers threw, where it bounced off of Garrett Wilson, that was on Garrett Wilson. But the other one that he threw towards him was on Aaron. It was good coverage, don't get me wrong, but that was on Aaron. That was a horrible throw. Terrible decision. And he's been doing that all season long. So we're not talking about anything extraordinary here. I'm just saying that if anybody watched that and you're still blaming Russ for what happened in Denver, then you have nothing but Russell Wilson blinders on. If you still think that Mike Tomlin shouldn't be your coach, you are outside of your fucking mind. And if you still think that Russ can't get it done, just wait. You're right. It is only one game. One game back. So you're absolutely correct in that regard. I'm just saying. All right, everybody. I am Drew Duncan. This is the Drew Duncan Sports Show. Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram is all at Drew Duncan Radio. And wherever you're listening to podcasts, take a device and play Drew Duncan. Google me, Drew Duncan. I'm going to pop right up. No more underground sports. No more fired up. And for the record, I am no longer on WBFR Radio or the Hip Hop Network. Mutual decisions. To be honest, I just want to do my own thing. I'm just saying. All right, guys. Everybody stay safe. Have a great rest of your week. Be back to you on Friday, man.